When Dinnerladies arrived in 1998, it looked like a gentle workplace comedy about a canteen in Manchester, but behind the laughter were strange twists, little-known truths, and surprising production secrets that even superfans rarely notice. Fact 1.
This is our handyman and repairs. This is Stan, and this is my second-in-command, Brenda.
Brenda? Fair Brenda of the Shepherd's Pie.
Victoria Wood didn't just create Dinnerladies. She wrote every single line of dialogue without a co-writer, an almost unheard-of decision for a primetime sitcom. She believed the characters' rhythms needed to come from a single voice to maintain perfect comedic timing. Cast members remembered her turning up to rehearsals with freshly handwritten rewrites every morning. Wood refused to allow improvisation, insisting that every pause and breath was intentional. Actors later said her scripts sounded improvised because they were so tightly observed. She crafted jokes with musical precision, treating dialogue like melody. Wood watched rehearsals with a pen ready, rewriting jokes seconds before cameras rolled. The cast would often learn new lines minutes before filming, trusting her instincts completely. She described writing the show as conducting a choir of voices living in my head. Even the smallest background characters were given carefully constructed lines. Her total authorship gave the series its unique warmth and rhythm. Producers said she carried the entire show on her shoulders by choice, not necessity. Unlike most sitcom creators, she refused script editors because she feared losing the show's emotional core. The result was a series shaped entirely by one mind, making it one of British TV's purest creative visions.
Brett, I'm having a fag. If he phones about the salad cream, tell him...
Tell him you're having a fag?
Yeah.
Fact 2.
Ladies first, the Duchess might say... What might she say, Brit?
Oh, what's the most popular meal here in the canteen?
The canteen in Dinnerladies wasn't just a sitcom set, it was built to the exact specifications of a working British factory kitchen. Designers visited several industrial workplaces in Manchester to study real layouts. They measured the height of serving counters, the placement of steamers, and even the distance between fridges. Victoria Wood insisted on authentic detail so the characters' movements would look natural. Many props were real industrial appliances borrowed from catering suppliers. Actors quickly realised the equipment was fully functional. The deep fat fryer actually heated, and the ovens could turn on, though crew usually disabled them for safety. Wood wanted everything to feel lived in, so she requested scuffed floors, stained walls, and slightly dented trays. Catering staff were hired as advisors to show cast members how to chop, stir, and plate food convincingly. Cast rehearsed with real ingredients, which meant the studio smelled like an actual bustling canteen. Some scenes had to be paused because steam from real pots fogged the cameras. Viewers often assumed the set was filmed in a real canteen because of its accuracy. The level of realism became one of the show's invisible strengths. Victoria Wood believed comedy was funnier when its world felt unmistakably real.
It's crazy.
Oh, excuse me, I haven't finished that. Sorry, I thought it was just crumbs.
Fact 3.
Reaction, Petula. Well, how else could it have ended? Carmel. I opened his cage and away he flew.
One reason Dinnerladies felt so natural was because many cast members already knew each other deeply. Victoria Wood deliberately chose actors she had worked with for years in sketch shows and stage tours. This gave the ensemble instant shorthand, letting scenes flow with effortless rhythm. The cast trusted Wood completely, making them more comfortable taking emotional risks. Celia Imrie, Julie Walters, Duncan Preston, and Anne Reid all had long histories with Wood before the series began. Their familiarity created the affectionate teasing seen on screen. Rehearsals felt more like friends catching up than formal work sessions. Directors often commented that the cast could deliver complex scenes in fewer takes because they anticipated one another's timing. Even guest stars said joining the set felt like stepping into an established family. Victoria Wood liked casting actors she knew because she understood their voices perfectly. She wrote lines specifically to match their natural speech patterns. This created a level of harmony rarely achieved in sitcom ensembles. The chemistry wasn't manufactured, it already existed long before the cameras rolled. It made the series' atmosphere warm, believable, and irresistibly human.
What do you think we should do, Brent? Torn between the factory and my mother. I mean, I love the factory, and as for my mother, well, I love the factory.
Fact 4.
Come on if you think you're hard enough, period.
Ha ha, 3 weeks late.
Bren, you sort it, I'm having fun.
Unlike many late 1970s sitcoms, Dinnerladies was filmed entirely in front of a live studio audience at London's BBC Television Centre. Victoria Wood believed laughter added essential rhythm to her scripts. She insisted the audience should see full scenes rather than broken fragments. This required the cast to perform long stretches of dialogue like stage actors. Many scenes were shot in single takes lasting several minutes. Wood felt the immediate response helped shape performances and comic timing. The audience often laughed so loudly that scenes needed retakes. Some jokes had to be slowed down because punchlines were drowning in applause. The cast loved the theatre-like atmosphere despite the pressure. They said the laughs gave them adrenaline that no canned track could replicate. Even serious or emotional moments gained intensity because the cast could feel the audience holding its breath. Filming days lasted longer due to this approach, but the payoff was authenticity. The energy of real people reacting in real time became part of Dinnerladies' signature feel. Victoria Wood believed comedy should breathe, and the audience helped it breathe perfectly.
So, when you're in your old folks' home, plonked on your commode in front of the telly, I'll come and flash at you through the window.
Fact 5.
Catherine cooks and they be like a horse and cart, and they get pregnant a lot and chop the heads off mackerel.
Despite the show's popularity, Victoria Wood was reluctant to create a second series of Dinnerladies. She feared the world and its characters were too delicate to stretch beyond 1 year. Wood was deeply protective of emotional continuity and didn't want to repeat jokes or dilute character arcs. BBC executives begged her to reconsider after the first series became a hit. She spent weeks debating whether she had enough fresh ideas to justify more episodes. Cast members recalled her pacing the rehearsal room with stacks of notes, weighing creative possibilities. She ultimately agreed only because she found new thematic directions involving change, growth, and departure. Even then, she wrote the second series with a clear end in mind. Wood said she preferred to finish too early rather than too late. Several actors admitted they were heartbroken when she confirmed the show would end after 2 series. Critics later praised her decision to keep the show short, calling it perfectly preserved. Its brevity helped maintain its emotional integrity. Wood believed that comedy should bow out gracefully, and Dinnerladies did exactly that.
What's he called?
Mr. Tashimoto.
Because normally it's a few dodgy pies and a disco. It's show up, throw up and bog off home.
Fact 6.
Everybody okay?
Yep.
This is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. There's chips, pie, soup. I mean, really, they've got everything they could want. Yeah.
Dinnerladies became famous for showing real food rather than plastic props, a decision that made filming both authentic and incredibly messy. Victoria Wood insisted that meals should look genuinely edible, not like painted rubber. As a result, the cast handled actual pies, curries, casseroles and trays of chips throughout long shoot days. Food stylists prepared fresh batches before every take because dishes quickly dried out under studio lights. Actors joked that they spent more time around boiling pans than professional chefs. The smell of real food filled the studio, making every rehearsal feel like a lunch rush. At times, prop staff had to replace dishes rapidly because scenes required multiple servings being plated or dropped. Cast members occasionally sneaked bites between takes, especially when scenes took hours to perfect. Anne Reid later said she gained weight during filming purely from background nibbling. Real steam often fogged up cameras, forcing the crew to wipe lenses mid-scene. Using real ingredients proved more expensive, but producers agreed it enhanced the show's credibility. Even audience members commented that the canteen looked convincingly busy and appetizing. This realism helped ground the show's humour in everyday workplace life. Victoria Wood believed that comedy should never look fake, even when jokes were heightened. Her commitment to authenticity made the kitchen feel alive in every episode.
Can you put some brown on for me? Toast.
It's all brown. That's like point of it in TikTok.
Fact 7.
You all right, Brent? Cope without me? How's it been?
It's been great. It's been brilliant, actually. No probs.
Before casting the brilliant Maxine Peake as Bren, Victoria Wood seriously considered playing the lead role. Bren was originally written as a soft-spoken, slightly frazzled version of Wood's own personality. Producers encouraged her to take the role because they believed viewers would respond to her star power. However, Wood worried that performing while also writing and managing production would overwhelm her. She knew she needed space to rewrite lines daily without being in costume. During early rehearsals, she briefly read Bren's lines herself, and cast members said the character felt uncannily like her. Despite this, she ultimately decided that the show needed a fresh face at its center. Maxine Peake impressed her with warmth, vulnerability, and impeccable timing. Wood later admitted that Peake's version of Bren was better than anything she could have created. Cast members said Wood hovered behind the cameras, beaming with pride during Bren's biggest emotional scenes. Handing over the role allowed Wood to focus more clearly on directing the performance rhythms. Many fans believe that Bren's heart came from Wood's writing, while her humanity came from Peake's portrayal. The combination created one of British TV's most beloved comic characters. It remains one of Wood's smartest creative decisions.
Hey, Bren. Michael Bolton's growing his hair again. I'm really excited.
Fact 8.
Been a little bit of a cushy atmosphere around here, and I'm sorry, it's time to wave cushy bye-bye.
When Dinnerladies first aired, some critics assumed it was a simple workplace farce, but they quickly realised the show carried unexpected emotional weight. Victoria Wood blended comedy with themes of loneliness, insecurity, and quiet resilience. The mixture of heartfelt scenes and sharp jokes became the show's trademark. Critics initially underestimated how powerfully the series balanced humour with vulnerability. Wood wrote characters who were flawed yet deeply human, often revealing surprising tenderness beneath their everyday routines. Moments like Bren's longing for her mother or Philippa's quiet desperation gave the sitcom unexpected depth. Cast members remembered audiences falling silent during emotional scenes, proving the live audience approach enhanced both comedy and drama. Many reviewers later compared the show's tone to Alan Bennett's monologues for its intimate understanding of ordinary lives.
I think I used to write long monologues and immensely long speeches.
Wood intentionally avoided sitcom cliches in favour of truthful conversations. Even minor characters received emotional arcs that paid off subtly throughout episodes. Fans praised the show for being funny without being cold, sentimental without being saccharine. Its unique blend of pathos and punchlines created a genre rarely seen on British TV. Over time, critics re-evaluated the series as one of Wood's greatest achievements. Fact 9.
She'd ate this old kebab she found in her handbag, been throwing up all week.
Before being cast as Bren, Maxine Peake was struggling financially and nearly left acting altogether. She considered becoming a probation officer because she couldn't afford to stay in London. At the time, she felt her career was going nowhere, despite years of training. When she auditioned for Dinnerladies, she expected nothing because she thought she was wrong for comedy. Victoria Wood immediately sensed her potential and offered her the role within hours. Peake later said the job saved my life, both professionally and emotionally. Working alongside comedy legends boosted her confidence massively. Cast members were astonished by her ability to shift from laughter to heartbreak in a single breath. Her natural warmth made Bren instantly relatable to viewers. The role opened doors to major dramatic work later in her career. Despite her later shift into gritty dramas, Peake has always credited Wood for transforming her path. The audition remains one of the most important moments in her life. Without Dinnerladies, Britain might never have seen her full talent. Her journey became one of the show's most inspiring off-screen stories.
That's man Bren, was he firing on all cylinders?
Fact 10.
Years ago, men were building a railway under pitiless Malaysian skies to bring rubber-footed furniture to the likes of you.
Although Dinnerladies looked simple on the surface, the production used unusually sophisticated camera choreography for a sitcom. Victoria Wood wanted scenes to feel fluid rather than static, so she requested long tracking shots across the canteen. BBC camera operators mapped out movements like stage ballets, ensuring they glided between counters, serving hatches and dining tables. This approach meant actors had to hit precise marks without breaking natural rhythm. Multi-camera setups were arranged at unusual angles to capture background reactions, one of the show's comedic strengths. Directors rehearsed camera operators almost as much as they rehearsed actors. Wood's scripts included specific notes about pacing that shaped camera timing. These techniques elevated the visual flow, making the busy environment feel convincingly alive. Filming sequences often required several retakes to synchronize pans, tilts, and character entrances. The cinematography gave the sitcom a cinematic warmth unusual for its era. Even today, the visual style feels modern compared to studio-bound sitcoms. Critics later praised the production's subtle sophistication. The camera work helped transform an everyday canteen into a vibrant world full of humour and humanity.
That's not going to help Tony get romantic with Bren, hanging up a big lump of parsley.
Fact 11.
Beg your pardon, Reg. This is my daughter, born Christmas Eve, so we called her Brenda.
Many fans assumed Julie Walters was always meant to play the scatterbrained Petula, but she was initially approached for a completely different character. Victoria Wood first considered her for the role of Philippa, the posh but insecure HR manager. Walters tried the role in early script readings and delivered it brilliantly, but Wood felt it didn't fully showcase her comedic unpredictability. During rehearsals, Wood handed her a few Petula lines as an experiment, and the shift was instant magic. Walters transformed the character into a whirlwind of chaos, charm, and barely controlled disaster. Cast members burst into laughter, realizing they were witnessing the birth of one of the show's most memorable creations. Wood immediately rewrote scenes to expand Petula's presence, giving Walters more freedom to explore her eccentricities. Walters loved the character because it gave her space to blend absurdity with emotional depth. Her exaggerated movements, dramatic descriptions, and chaotic entrances became essential comic beats in the series. Producers later admitted that Petula might not even have existed without Walters' unique energy. The character added an unpredictable spark to every episode she appeared in. Her performance remains one of the standout highlights of Dinnerladies. The shift from Philippa to Petula became a defining creative decision. It proved once again that Victoria Wood instinctively knew how to match actors to characters with perfect precision.
Gwynnie's my pal. I did offer to have intercourse with him.
Fact 12.
Whoever told her to take a crack at Paddy McGinty's goat did her no favour.
One of the show's recurring jokes involved absurd or overly dramatic weather forecasts playing in the background, and this came directly from real BBC newsroom bloopers. Victoria Wood was fascinated by unintentionally comedic moments she saw on live television. She kept a notebook of odd weather report mistakes, including mispronounced towns, broken graphics, and meteorologists delivering unexpected emotional asides. These inspired the exaggerated forecasts that play quietly in several episodes, adding humour for attentive viewers. Wood believed background details should be as funny as the main dialogue. The writers deliberately created forecasts that sounded almost believable before drifting into ridiculousness. Sound engineers often recorded them at the last minute to match the tone of the week's episode. Cast members sometimes broke into laughter when the forecasts played too loudly during rehearsals. A few viewers even wrote letters asking which channel the fictional reports were from. Wood loved these messages because they proved the jokes were subtle enough to pass as authentic. Many fans never noticed the gag until rewatching years later. This layered humour reflected Wood's meticulous approach to comedy. Even the quietest corners of the show contained crafted jokes. It became one of the series' most quietly brilliant running details.
I'm worried about burning my flipping mouth. I've got a sex life to think of, you know.
Fact 13.
Foreign country, it's chucking it down. We're doing food nobody can eat because nobody's got any flipping teeth.
One of the most emotional episodes involves Bren undergoing medical tests, and this storyline came directly from Victoria Wood's own experience with hospitals. She had spent time supporting a close family member through a long illness and was deeply moved by the kindness of hospital staff. Wood wanted to capture the fragile mix of fear, routine, and accidental humour that often surrounds medical situations. She used her observations to write scenes with raw honesty. Several nurses later praised the episode for portraying their world with respectful accuracy. Maxine Peake was nervous about performing such sensitive material, but Wood guided her carefully through the emotional beats. Filming days for the episode were noticeably quieter on set because the subject matter affected everyone. Cast members said they admired how Wood blended seriousness with gentle humour. Even the jokes in the episode were grounded in real experiences Wood had witnessed. The storyline resonated deeply with viewers who saw their own medical anxieties reflected. It became one of the most talked about episodes of the series. Wood felt proud that a sitcom could explore vulnerability without losing warmth. The episode demonstrated the emotional range that made Dinnerladies unique. It remains one of the most heartfelt moments in Victoria Wood's entire career.
No idea, because everywhere in Scotland is spelt Ecclefechan and pronounced Cucubra.
Fact 14.
And then we drive from Dumfries to Somerset overnight, possibly with a dead dog, I don't know.
The wonderfully awkward character of Philippa, brilliantly played by Anne Reid, was secretly inspired by several BBC executives Victoria Wood encountered early in her career. Wood noticed many managers who appeared outwardly confident, yet quietly overwhelmed. She found their polished appearances hiding private insecurities both funny and touching. Philippa became a composite of these real-life personalities. Her polite enthusiasm masked deep self-doubt, making her instantly relatable. Wood crafted her dialogue to sound like someone constantly trying to impress but rarely succeeding. Anne Reid brought a delicate balance of poise and panic to the role. Her subtle eye movements and nervous smiles added depth that scripts alone couldn't capture. Writers adjusted scenes when Reid discovered new layers in the character. Philippa's awkward entrances and overly formal announcements came from real stories Wood heard in BBC hallways. Many employees recognized themselves in the character and confessed so to Wood. This added an inside joke quality to the role that BBC staff found hilarious. Philippa became one of the show's most successfully understated comic creations. She embodied the quiet pressure of office life with surprising heart. Her character reflected how even seemingly confident people can feel lost beneath the surface.
Is this okay, do you think? It had egg mayonnaise on it, but I think I got most of it out.
Fact 15.
It was interesting. I've not seen that magazine before, Weapons and Warfare.
Although Dinnerladies was hugely successful, Victoria Wood made the difficult decision to end the show after just 2 series. She believed the characters' stories had reached their natural emotional destination. Wood feared that continuing would dilute the show's heart and honesty. Cast members pleaded with her to write more, but she remained firm. She explained that comedy must leave at its peak rather than fade. Ending early allowed the show to remain tightly written and beautifully cohesive. Critics praised the decision as bold and artistically sound. The final episodes were crafted with deliberate closure, offering characters moments of growth rather than abrupt endings. Many viewers were shocked by how soon the show concluded, but its short run helped cement its legacy. Wood later said she never regretted the choice, believing it preserved the show's integrity. Fans continue to appreciate its brief, perfect lifespan. The emotional impact of its ending still resonates with audiences today. Dinnerladies became a rare example of a sitcom ending by artistic choice rather than necessity. Victoria Wood ensured the show lived on, untouched and unspoiled. Its legacy remains powerful precisely because it ended at the perfect moment.